So how's it going, guys? This is Ryo Murata, photographer based in Tokyo. So in my previous video I talked about the Pentax 17, where I basically talked about the brief overview of that camera, the functionalities, the characteristics of that camera in particular. And because it was a new film camera ever since the last film camera was produced 20 years ago, it was probably challenging for Pentax crew and the engineers to come up with a new camera. And I basically dedicated my soul to that video and said some of the flaws of that camera. Hopefully they can fix that in the next iteration to come, and hopefully the engineers at Pentax will watch that video. But unfortunately, going a little bit off topic, this video in particular, I basically brought this camera on a trip to, drum rolls, Nagoya and Osaka. And if you guys probably do not know, it's surprising for me to say that I actually never been to Nagoya or Osaka. And one of my friends from that region were like, "Are you kidding me?" kind of. And I thought it would be, as a personal like experience, it would be nice to just go around that area in particular and just shoot some photos simultaneously with the Pentax 17 that I got the hold on. And unfortunately to say to you guys, Nagoya in particular, I did not shoot around that area because one of my main goals was actually going to Ise Jingu. And I'm gonna go a little bit off topic, unfortunately, but Ise Jingu is located in Mie Prefecture, which is like under Nagoya. It's hard to say, but Ise Jingu is like the largest Shinto shrine in Japan. And because one of my parents work in the temple-ish areas, she said that if you want to go to the top end of the Shinto shrine, Ise Jingu is the way to go. And I did not know much about it, but I basically wanted to go there to see if there was like anything interesting around that area. So on the first day, I basically rode the Shinkansen from Tokyo to Nagoya, which is roughly 1 hour or so. And then I basically hopped on, or before hopping onto a different train, I basically dropped my luggage, my suitcase, and my half of my like camera gear at a hotel. And in most cases in Japan, you can basically drop off your luggage at a hotel after confirming your name and your address and etc., until the check-in time, which is like in the afternoon in most cases. So I basically dropped my luggage, got myself sort of like a lightweight package, and basically rode the Kintetsu Nagoya line, roughly 1 hour and a half actually, to Iseishi Station, which is where Ise Jingu is located. And to get my day started, I basically slapped in the Fuji 400 film stock into the Pentax 17 to get my day going. because this is sort of like a photography channel, not a sort of like a touristy type of channel, sorry guys, I can't give you guys that much info about in terms of food and stuff like that. But Ise, specifically the Ise Jingu shrine, is a really unique shrine because it is comprised of two locations: the Gegu, the outer circle, and the Naigu, which is the inner circle. Typical like shrines or temples are located in one location in particular, like the Asakusa temple is located in just one location. But Ise Jingu, on the other hand, is located in two separate locations, far away actually. And the way around this area in particular is you have to visit the Gegu first, then the Naigu, the outer circle, then the inner circle, or else if you go the other way around, you get a slap in the face by the Shinto, what I call gods, actually. So the way around is, like I said, visiting the outer circle, then the inner circle, and you have to use a bus to get to the inner circle. And it took like roughly 30-40 minutes, which was really surprising and a really isolated location. After going to the Gegu and the, I guess, Naigu, it actually started to rain and heavy downpour, and you guys probably know or guessed this camera is not waterproof, so I did not want to like risk it, because if this camera dies, this video would die. So I basically did not shoot much going into the Naigu, and it was actually similar to Gegu. There's basically a couple of like shrines or tories around, and lots of forestry and nature and a river. So it was actually a pleasant area, especially when it's like not raining, but more like probably cloudy or maybe like sunny. So yeah, that's my sort of like take of shooting around like Ise Jingu area. On the second day, hard to say this to you guys, but I basically left Nagoya for Osaka like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, early in the morning, due to the fact that at my workplace, a fellow coworker was from Nagoya, said that honestly, Nagoya, there's not much to do. The majority of people who are from Nagoya actually travels to Osaka or Tokyo because it's much more economically developed. There's more things to do. It's more fun. While Nagoya, on the other hand, there's not many what we call special locations to like hang out around, unfortunately. And another person from Osaka said the exact same thing, that Nagoya's like really, you can basically sort of like tour the city within like half a day or so. And I basically took that advice and basically went to Osaka to allocate more time to shoot photos there. So I basically took the earliest train to Osaka, which is roughly 1 hour and a half or so, if I'm right, or 1 hour on the Nozomi. And basically, after taking out the Fuji 400, I basically stopped in the Merix 400D because I was super curious about this film stock. I never shot the Merix 400D, sort of like the alternative to Cinestill 400D, but I had high expectations of this film stock. after getting my grand breakfast, because I arrived too early, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, there were no shops open at that time. So I basically waited until Yodobashi camera opened, Umeda. And if you guys probably know, Yodobashi camera, Umeda is probably the largest Yodobashi camera in that region in particular. It's open. I walked around the film section to note that they do sell a lot of like film stocks for not affordable prices, but a little bit expensive prices. I was like really surprised that the Umeda shop, Yodobashi camera, has more, far more, how should I say, like chemical related stuff for like processing film, the black and whites. They had offered like chemicals with paper, along with paper actually. So that was nice to see. After going to Yodobashi camera, I basically went to Naniwa camera store. And if you guys recall my Lemon Shot video, the parent company of Lemon Shot is actually Naniwa Shokai, aka Naniwa camera store. And if you guys did not see that video, please watch that video, because in order to get the authority of shooting video and video, not video and video, but video and photos for you guys, to give you guys the context of the camera shop in particular, I basically had to like contact the, I guess, the authority, which was a Naniwa group actually, and that person was Mr. Nakamura-san, who basically I was emailing back and forth whether or not if I can shoot video and contents at the same time. After I made the video, he had basically checked my video to see if it was alright to post online. So there was this sort of like contact going on, and I basically contacted him if I could sort of like visit him to say my greetings, not shoot video this time, because it was sort of like a formal way of saying my thanks for giving me the opportunity to make that video come true to life. And it was actually great knowing him. At the same time, he basically explained the shop, the Umeda shop in particular. There was a lot of cameras actually, so if you're ever in the Kansai region, the Naniwa camera store is the way to go in terms of buying a really nice like film cameras. And I was like surprised they had a lot of Nikon F3s within their shop, and at the same time they do sell film stocks, so if you're running low you can basically go there and basically purchase some. So yeah, that was actually a great experience. And with the Pentax 17, I shot the entrance of the what I call the Naniwa shop actually before it opened, so that was actually a unique experience. It said that, have you heard of the Osaka's Shashin Kaikan? And I was like, Shashin Kaikan? And I had no idea what that was. He said that there's a building called the Osaka Shashin Kaikan, which every single floor there's a film camera shop, and I was like, that caught me. I was hooked to that like information, that like conversation, and I was like, no, I'm like really curious. And at the same time, he was saying that on the next day that basically I visited, so tomorrow there's going to be some kind of festival going on, like Midori Suji like festival, like with modern like musicians and stuff like that. And the portion of Umeda and also Shinsaibashi area is gonna get blockaded, so there's gonna be tons of people. You will have trouble like walking around the city when that happens, so you should go visit them ASAP. And I said, わかりました。行きます。大阪写真会館。どこ？心斎橋。Okay. 行ってきます。Kinda. So I basically went to Osaka's Shashin Kaikan. After that, basically rode the what was it, the train, Midou Suji line actually, and basically went south to Shinsaibashi, and it's roughly a 10-15 minute walk from Shinsaibashi station lies Osaka Kaikan. And I was only able to like shoot the outside of the building and a little bit of the lobby type of area, but you could not shoot, or I could not shoot like video within the each and every floor, because photography and videography was not allowed, unfortunately. But to sum it up, it is a really unique building in my opinion. Like each and every floor has its sort of like distinctive flavor in terms of selling what kind of film cameras they sell. On one floor, they sold cameras that sort of like resembled Lucky Camera and Chuko Camera box shop that I talked about in Tokyo, mashed together like a hybrid actually. And hard to explain. It's like really messed up in terms of like layout, and there's like so many cameras, like you have to like waddle through these old cameras not to like destroy anything. One floor was like that. Another floor was like specialized in Leica type of cameras, and another floor was specialized in 4x5. And because I do not shoot with 4x5, I do not have that much expertise in that field. But I was able to talk with the manager or the owner there, and they had a 6x9 Horseman adapter for 4x5. And I was like, because I shoot with 6x9, I was like, wait, I can attach this 6x9 film adapter to a 4x5, sticking some photos for you guys. And he said, yeah, you get like 8 exposures if you stick in a 120 film. And I was like, I unfortunately did not buy it at that moment, but that was like precious gold information that if I want to shoot with 4x5, I can do that. So yeah, and another floor specialized in underwater photography. So if you're into that aquatic type of maritime, I guess, photography kind of stuff, they have a floor for that. I think that's for digital if I'm right. After going to the Shashin Kaikan in Osaka, I basically walked back to Shinsaibashi, walked towards Namba. Unfortunately, a downpour struck this area and it was like really flooded, and my pants were wet as ever. Fortunately, because the downpour was significantly like really hectic, it was like in Japan we call it like Geridago, which is like scores of rain happen spontaneously. But this time around, for some odd reason, it was like raining all day through the night. So I did not shoot that much around the Namba area and the Shinsaibashi area, and basically allocated the next day to shoot around this area at night, and shot some photos to show you guys about how the Pentax 72 dealt with those types of, I guess, area in particular. And interesting enough, if there's enough light, as in terms of if you go to the entertainment sections, I went to actually, where was it? The Tsutenkaku area, which it's similar to Kabukicho, so there's a lot of lights, LED lights, and lots of like vividness going on. The Merix 400D, which I was still using, held up pretty well. Love the halilations, the popping color. It was actually a great sort of like experience, like seeing the Osaka's landmark, which is the Tsutenkaku. And on the second day, I basically revisited Namba area because I wanted to revisit the Dotonbori area because that is an iconic location in particular. And because the rain destroyed my sort of like schedule, I wanted my final revenge and basically just walked around that area, shot a lot of photos. And there was one thing that I really wanted to try, which was riding the Ferris wheel of Don Quixote. You guys probably do not know or do know Don Quixote is, they did a collaboration with Bruno Mars, but uh they have a Ferris wheel in Osaka, and that's like the only Ferris wheel that exists in Japan. And although it's a Tokyo company, I don't know why they did this, but I guess Osaka people love Ferris wheels, something gigantic. So I basically sat there alone, like a single person, and basically shot just looking down on people, not looking down on people, but like shooting down on people, not shooting down people, but photographing the scene of the Osaka area with Pentax 17. And this was really astonishing, but the what we call the glass wasn't glass, it was like acrylic glass, and it was like so scratched up that I thought it would sort of like ruin the photo, but it turns out to be really great in the sense that showing that nostalgic vibe. And I basically enjoyed like shooting inside the gondola of this Ferris wheel, which can break at any moment. The sound was creaking near its lifespan. But I basically finished shooting with Merix 400D, and that was basically my sort of like Osaka trip of 2024. So yeah, coming back, talking about this camera in particular, it was a joy using this camera. And because I'm not being sponsored, I can say whatever I want, which feels really nice. And I have to admit, there are some great things about this camera being like really small, compact, lightweight, but there were a couple of flaws that I wish they would fix, such as this mode dial, which kept on changing. Oh man, this is going to tear me apart. But yeah, it's so easy to change the mode. And yeah, and I wish they put some kind of locking mechanism so they can like stay in one location throughout the day. So yeah, without changing. So yeah, I really enjoy like shooting with this camera. And yeah, one of my fellow, I guess, subscribers, followers, or viewers mentioned that because it uses a leaf shutter, the shutter sounds really, it sounds like really damping. It's not a focal plane shutter, it uses a leaf shutter, so it's like really silent. So yeah, but it goes up until like 1/350th of a second, meaning that if it's like super bright and if you use a super high speed film stock such as Cinestill 800T, you might have trouble compensating for that because the shutter speed can't go beyond 1/350th of a second. And at the same time, this bokeh mode opens up the aperture even more, so you will get a super overblown shot if you shoot with Cinestill 800T or any kind of film stock that ends like really fast. So you have to take care of that when that happens. So yeah, you have to. And I guess like for this camera in particular, using 400 ISO speed film is the best bet because you can basically shoot most throughout the day, and at night you can basically switch this to bokeh mode and open up the aperture, and hopefully you can survive in really dark like locations. And speaking of dark locations, I have to like add on to that is that if you shoot in super, I guess, dark environments like this shot where there were two fellow couples trying to go into the coin laundry, but they were like sort of like wondering whether or not to go in there. Because it was like super dark, because the camera meter is on top of the lens, metered really dark in that environment. It tried to like slow down the shutter speed, meaning that when I pressed the shutter, I probably shot around 1 second or so, or probably like a quarter of a second. The people basically moved or walked away, meaning that it's easy to get camera shake with this camera when shooting in super dark locations. And because this is a program auto type of a camera, I can't tell what the shutter speed is when you're shooting it. So that's an area to like keep note. Okay, so that's my video on my Pentax 17. Bringing this was an honor to Osaka and actually sort of like Nagoya, which I never took that many photos. Maybe the hotel and inside the hotel, but because it was like really lightweight and also easy to like carry around and don't throw it around, but this is great as a sort of like a sub camera in my opinion, because I shoot with a medium format camera. That's my main camera. When I want to bring my second camera, it's mostly the Konica C35, which is like lightweight, and because it's sort of like program auto, I don't have to like take that much of precaution when shooting with it. This is similar to that, but because it uses like zone focusing, which I'm not used to, most of my shots look really crappy in my opinion, unfortunately. And hopefully if I shoot a lot with this zone focus, I will get used to like zone focusing and getting used to the distance. If I shoot around this distance, this would be like 25 centimeters. If I shoot like this would be 1.2. Probably my sort of like accuracy will get better as long as I keep shooting with this. But if I get used to shooting with zone focusing when I go back to using the C35, I might have issues. But for some people, this might be a great camera. And yeah, it was an honor to bring you to all the way to Osaka and Nagoya and come back in one piece. So yeah, there's my video of the Pentax 17. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative. If you have any questions, I'm happy to reply. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace out.